Okay, today we're going to look at equality of surds, so equating parts of surds. So if we have an equation such as this one, we should think about what are A and B, and how do we know? So first of all, hopefully you notice on both sides of the equal sign, we've got the square root of 6, right? And that square root of 6 has a coefficient on both sides. So here the coefficient is b, here the coefficient is -2. So because that square root of 6 is a surd, it's a reduced radical, we can equate those parts of that surd. So we know that b is going to be equal to -2. Okay, and then because a does not have a square root of 6 and 3 does not have a square root of 6, they're both integers, or at least rational numbers, we assume that they are equal as well. So a is going to be equal to 3, and b is going to be equal to -2. Okay, so we're just equating the parts. Okay, so again, this only works when the radical that we're dealing with is a surd. It is reduced. Okay, so for example, it doesn't work with the square root of 4. So this is a correct statement here. 1 plus 4 times the square root of 4 is equal to 3 plus 3 times the square root of 4. Okay, that is true because we know that the square root of 4 is 2, right? So 1 plus 4 times 2 is equal to 3 plus 3 times 2, right? 1 plus 8 is 9, and 3 plus 6 is 9, right? But then equating the parts of surds doesn't work here. Like 1 is not equal to 3, right? And 4 is not equal to 3 either. So we cannot use this equating parts of surds if we're not dealing with a surd. Okay, the square root of 4 is not a surd because it's not a simplified radical. Okay, so it only works when whatever your radical is totally simplified. So a is going to be equal to 3 in this case, and b is equal to -2. Okay, so it's a very similar idea here. We can see that x is going to be equal to 15 because that's the part without the surd, right? Our surd is the square root of 2, and y is going to be equal to -4. We have x plus y square roots of 2 equals 6, and we're equating parts of surds here. So really, we don't have any square root of 2 on this side of the equation, right? So we have 0 square roots of 2. So just be conscious of that. Like in this example, we had to add 0 as our rational number here by itself without a square root of 2. And here we have to add 0 square roots of 2 because we only have a rational number. So x is going to be equal to 6, and then y is going to be equal to 0. Okay, last example. Here we're solving for a and b. Again, we're going to FOIL this side of the equation. So we'll have 2a minus a square roots of 2 plus 2 square roots of 2 minus 2, right? We've got a positive times a negative, so it's going to give us a negative, and then a square root of 2 times the square root of 2 gives us 2 without the square root. Okay, and that's equal to 4 minus b square roots of 2. Okay, we're going to combine anything that doesn't have a square root of 2. So 2a and our -2 we're going to put those in front, okay, because they don't have a surd, and they're going to be equal to 4, okay, because those are the parts without the square root of 2. Okay, then we're going to have, again, I'll use the positive one first. So plus 2 minus a, and those both have a square root of 2 attached to them. So we're factoring out square root of 2, and we're left with 2 minus a. Okay, and that's the coefficient of our square root of 2, and that's going to be minus b square roots of 2 over here. So 2 minus a, the coefficient of the square root of 2 on the left side of the equation, is going to be equal to -b, the coefficient of the square root of 2 on the right side of the equation. Okay, so then we can set up our two equations. So we've got 2a minus 2 is equal to 4. And we've got 2 minus a is equal to negative b. Okay, and then we can solve the first equation, 2a minus 2 first, 2a minus 2 equals 4 first for a, and then we can substitute that into the second equation. So we can add 2, 2a equals 6, divide both sides by 2, we've got a equals 3. Okay, then we can substitute that in here. So 2 minus 3 equals negative b, and then that is negative 1 equals negative b. If we divide both sides by negative 1, or if we multiply both sides by negative 1, that's going to give us 2 positives. So then we get b equals 1. Okay. So a equals 3 and b equals 1.